Yo, what's going on, Nomads and Drifting Podcast listeners? I'm Brian.
And I'm Monica.
And welcome to our podcast, Backspace Nomads. It's January the 15th, and we're recording the 43rd episode of the Backspace Nomads. 43rd? How do you say these things?
Third. You had it right the first time, but I like thirth.
Thirth?
I like thirth. That sounds like a very goofy weapon.
Who has a goofy weapon? The thirth.
A thirth. I'm gonna stab you with my thirth.
It just sounds like a Bond villain who needs to go to speech classes before he took on a villain school.
So don't talk about me like that.
I used to have to take speech classes because of my slur. Now it's all coming out in front of you.
Yeah, I'm just bringing out my inner Brian.
Yeah, that's just why I became a big drunk in my life, to cover that up in front of people. Like, no,
don't tell people about your
What's new with you? What have you been up to over the past week?
Well, I've been sick for like 3 weeks straight, and I lost my voice. And that was great. I went to Vegas and lost my voice while working. I know I'm not a stripper. I am a professional woman who was at a business conference, fully clothed.
Yeah.
Okay, people.
How many women do you think have to defend that line? You just have ready to go when you say, I'm going to Vegas to work.
Instantly, and maybe it's because I grew up in Southern California, but instantly I was like, oh, fuck. Because most women that go from Southern California to Vegas to go work are not going for a conference. They're going for a little dancey poo.
A little dancey poo?
A little dancey poo.
How was Vegas? Did you enjoy the city?
I hate Vegas, so no.
I don't think I would enjoy Vegas. I don't get the whole hubbub about Vegas.
Everything's very expensive and very chain. They have every chain restaurant known to man there. They do have good food. I'm not going to lie about that. They have some fun shows, but it's so expensive. Yeah. It's just like excess. Everywhere you go, it's excess, just be carefree, do what you want. And it works. When you're there, you start feeling like nothing really fucking matters anymore. And then you go home and you're like, things still matter. That's awkward. And, that's just pretty much how it goes. I don't know.
I think I started hating Vegas when they came out with that stupid slogan. Whatever happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. And then everyone
it's like what happens here stays here.
Yeah. But
that's been a slogan for a long time. I mean, a lot of it does, honestly. These people that go to these conferences, they think that it's like a second life.
Yeah.
It's like a reboot for them.
They should really be just honest.
Some of them, not everybody. There are plenty of people that keep it honest and that keep it good, but there are plenty of also other people that are like, I can do whatever I want in the city because I truly believe in slogans.
Las Vegas, you're gonna cheat on your wife.
Yeah, that's you know what? It really makes me sad. I'm not joking. One of my coworkers and I were just talking so much about how people cheat and how sad it makes us. And it's really depressing because there are a lot of people there that just go out and cheat. And then
but it's Vegas. No one's going to know. Not even yourself.
I know. And I'm sad about it. Let's
I guess
move
that
on.
Too. I can't even talk about whatever it was.
How about you?
I've just been stuck here in Orlando, not traveling as much as you. And by stuck here, what a pleasure. Because I get to sit at the computer and I was watching awesome games done quick over the last week. And I don't know what it is about that program that they put on, because I really don't watch speedrunning overall. But whenever that thing comes on, I am like...
It's a speedrunning show?
Yeah. Oh, it's a charity. Awesome Games Done Quick is a annual speedrunning charity. That it has massive viewership on Twitch, regularly hitting over 150,000 concurrent viewers. And this year they raised over $2.5 million for charity.
Holy shit. That's awesome.
And I don't know what it is about it, because when it comes on, I'm in my chair. I'm like, I just want to see someone kick the shit out of DuckTales. Let's watch it. Any other time
That,
though, I don't have interest in it, but whatever they do, maybe it's the platform they put it on because there's like a group of people on a couch, you know.
yeah. You just love watching groups of people on a couch.
I love it if they,
I don't blame you. It sounds great.
it could almost be a
I'm just
sitcom.
kidding.
Um,
Groups of people on a couch, the sitcom.
well, I guess like most speedrunners, when they're streaming on the internet, or it's like just them talking, right? But this is more of
Right.
like a group on a couch. Then they have the people reading off donations, and then you have the
Yeah,
crowd
yeah.
behind. Like there's an atmosphere that's like built into it that I just really enjoy. So
Yeah.
insane that they raised that much for charity. They should literally be bragging how much better they are for charity than like golf clubs and stuff. You know, like all these people who are so in love with themselves for raising charity. Like no, just a bunch of nerds. Um, demolishing Sonic the Hedgehog raised $2.5 million.
I love speed runs though. Honestly, I like watching them. I think that they're fun. But it also depends on who I'm watching. I can't just watch just like any generic. I get attached to personalities.
Just
There was another one, Show Video Games, that I used to watch a long time ago. They were real like well, it used to be a duo, and they were a really young couple. And I thought that they were like really sweet. I
uh-huh.
don't know how else to put it. They were really like a sweet couple. They were both like 18 and married, and I really enjoyed watching them too. And I know that they're
18 and
the guys.
married. Ooh.
Yeah, I know the guy's still part of the circuit. There's some weird things that happen between that show. Yeah,
What is it like?
we
How
won't
fast
talk
can
about that on
you
that
run a
show.
marriage?
Kind of, yeah. Like their first convention, everything seemed to kind of fall apart, but that's okay. You know, it wasn't in Vegas. It seems like what happened should have happened in Vegas, but unfortunately it wasn't. So it didn't stay there.
Where was the first TwitchCon?
It wasn't TwitchCon. I don't
Oh,
remember.
I'm
I don't
sorry.
know. I don't want to smush on these like 18-year-olds little marriage any more than it's already been on the internet.
Okay.
If you're interested, I'm sure you can just do some digging, fam, and just like find out what I'm talking about.
Sure.
But anyway, we do need to jump into our war.
What war?
Well, it's not quite a war yet. We're not to battle yet, but we have been enlisting.
Mm-hmm.
Our last podcast, we brought up our new enlistment into Gamers, GAMRS. And it's you can find us at backspacenomads.com/GAMRS.
Gamers.
Yeah, Gamers. And we are trying to fight mediocre releases on Steam. It's Gamers Against Mediocre Releases on Steam.
Monstrous releases on stream.
Monstrous.
Monstrous releases.
Monstrous release. I'm fucked.
We
Oh,
wish these games were mediocre. They are way more offensive than that.
that's true. And we for those of you guys that have enlisted already, awesome. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining the army. But we aren't quite there yet. We need some more people. We need to start building this up. So please go check us out and enlist in our army. You'll be getting updates on some fun elements to the show that we plan on implementing over the upcoming weeks. But for this week, I started trying to think about like, okay, if I'm going to be in charge of an army with you, what have I really done to combat poorly done games?
Mm-hmm.
And it's very minimal. I don't have a lot of credentials, so I'm requiring a lot of blind faith, people. But I think we can do this together. I believe in our heart that we can do this. One heart, a single heart that beats together.
I feel moved already.
Yeah, I am moving things. Okay. Right now, I'm moving my cursor over to the one review that I've written on Steam. And I noticed, what have I done to combat poor games over time? Very minimal, guys. It's been one
don't
review.
Put yourself down.
It's been one. I've written one review. But this was for one of the shittiest fucking games I've ever bought and played. It was called a Stomping Land. And I bought this thing and
Stomping Land. What?
Stomping Land. It was like an original Ark. It was before Ark came out.
Oh, dinosaurs and stuff.
Yes.
I remember this game.
I was obsessed with this game. No one knew I was a girl. I was so good at it. I forget my name I forget what I had my name being in the game.
Stomper.
No.
Oh.
I actually got invited into clans.
Ooh.
People were like, I would join a server and they'd be like, holy shit. Oh, it was You Smell Rank. You Smell Rank is here. Oh shit, dude. Come join our tribe. Come join our tribe. Come join our tribe. I am not joking. I was a fucking, like, it was not a gigantic community, but within this community, I was fucking king. And no one knew I was a girl. No one.
Is that a point of
pride? I
just
played it off. I said, like, dude, I'll fucking join unless anyone else wants to give me a T-Rex. Like, I was just fucking Choshy, okay? And not only
you
that.
You just hustled them out of a T-Rex?
I did all kinds of shit. I was the fucking king. People would be like, fucking, like, melee me, like, fucking fight me. And I'm like, all right, let's do it. And there was so much lag in that game. Like, I think I just figured the lag out.
Yeah.
But, like, I could kill, like, people like, I haven't been killed in, like, 14 days. I kill them instantly.
Yeah.
It didn't fucking matter. I was really good at it because I loved it so much.
You were the monster in this game.
I was.
Yeah.
This goes a little bit beyond the game itself, but I actually started, like, guys would hit me up and be like, dude, my girl won't let me play today. Like, what a fucking bitch. And I'm just sitting there awkwardly, like, I'm like, dude, that fucking sucks. I hate bitches.
Fucking tale as old as time. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, oh, dude, that sucks. My girl always lets me play because she's me.
I mean, here's what I always think about those guys who always act like that. I'm like, so like your girl dictates your time. You think it's you or them that like attracts that kind of a person? Like,
I don't know. I was just like, don't tell them you're a girl because everyone loves you and cherishes you in this community. But that game fucking fell apart. It was early access. They stopped putting releases out. It was one of the most poorly done early access games. And what put misery on top of misery here was that they got pulled off Steam. And as soon as they got pulled off Steam, they did the fucking tiniest update to show that they were still working on the game.
Yeah.
To get it back on Steam. Fucking shysters, man.
I remember that.
It was one of the most poorly done early access games I've ever even heard about. I was a part of. And this is the only game I've written a review on. And this is what I wrote. The Stomping Land was going to be my go-to game. I bought it expecting the best and even convinced friends to purchase so they could join in on what I assumed would be one of the most unique games of 2014. Unfortunately, what happened was another story. Fun at first, the functionality in the game quickly fell flat and no updates were in sight. Due to this, I had to start trying to get my money's worth in other ways, tying branches to my body in the backyard, wearing loincloths, and walking around with a hunch like I had extreme scoliosis, which I do now. The worst was when I asked my boyfriend to dress up like one of those fucking chicken dinosaurs to work on my spear skills when the servers were all completely abandoned.
What?
Finally, I believe my plight was over and Steam removed the game. However, the creators of the Stomping Land put out a minor update with lots of broken things to fail at trying. And I found myself once again stuck wondering what kind of asshat sells a game they can't even keep the community supporting it updated on. Don't buy this.
Well,
to be fair, I don't remember dressing up like that in my backyard. I think I was lying.
You think you're lying?
I think I was lying, but I might have scoliosis, so now I'm not so sure.
Well, even if that was like your one time at bat, at least you took a nice swing. You know, you should be proud of yourself.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. It's the best I could do in 2015 in January.
Yeah, I think that was.
But I'm going to become more well-versed, guys. I'm going to write more reviews. This is going to happen.
Yeah.
What about you, Brian? Do you review?
I do review. There are reviews up on our YouTube channel. We used to do a weekly review here on the Backspace Nomads podcast. And then after I missed reviewing games so much, I started doing them by myself. And like, and not that we didn't put thought into our other ones, but like I wanted to take time to like narrate it like I was Morgan
Yeah.
Freeman of a video game reviewer, you know? Uh, and you get into it and you review really good games. And when you start thinking about it, you see like what people put their time and their thought into like these little minute details. And then you go back and like play these bad games and they don't even care in the slightest.
Yeah.
Like there are people who think about the story of how a tree got into this little tiny part of their game. You know, like in this corner, 100 years ago, the tree was planted, and then you get into the other games, like, man, I just bought it off Unreal, and clickety clackety, here it is in my game.
Yeah.
So I would like to get back to reviewing games more. It's enjoyable to like think critically about games because we just kind of maybe we kind of autopilot games a lot of the times and just think about what we enjoy.
Yeah.
But I do enjoy the critique, thinking about it a little bit more.
Why do you think we've been so stagnant as far as reviewing games on Steam?
Us in general, or they're like,
yeah, I mean, I've only ever written one review on Steam.
I don't like, I guess before now, I didn't think it was that important. It's just kind of like other people will leave reviews. Other people will do this. It's fine. I'll just go on to the next game. I guess I feel like me not playing their game anymore is my review, but that's very selfish. And, I need to put my thoughts into a written format on Steam, especially now that we're starting gamers, so people know and like that this is not okay and acceptable. So I think it's just been more of I think I'm doing enough because I'm not playing it. Why do you think you don't review games?
I think it's mostly because I don't really necessarily like holding on to that negative emotion. Like it's really easy to like move on to something better. But what I feel like we've been finding over the last year is that it's hard to move through all of the poorly done games that are out there.
Yeah.
And part of that is because of our lack of action on these types of things. We're not really demanding a lot and we are ignoring a lot. And I was severely pissed about the Stomping Land. And I am sure that, and it was because I cared about it. And it was because they were scamming people.
Yeah.
And I was like, I need to write a review on this because I feel like people follow me. And they know they want to know how I feel about on this game. And it's like, I feel like I needed to share my thoughts on it. I'm realizing now that by not sharing my thoughts on things, and I buy a lot of indie games,
Yeah.
I am doing a severe disservice to the entire community. And so, I know you guys those that are enlisting, it's backspacenomads.com/GAMRS, gamers, basically without the E.
We should have done that like we're a fucking 2000s emos band. Gamers without the E.
Gamers without the E. But if you follow us there, we are really planning on doing some fun things as far as combating some of the piss poor options that are being allowed onto Steam. So please check us out and enlist into our army. You'll be able to pick out your role within the army. So don't worry, there's not a lot required of you. We just want to have you be a part of the community. So it'd be great to see you there.
We should have like a support group within like where we can all gather around on like a video conference and talk about our stories.
To be honest, that's going to happen if we lose the war because we will all just be like battle like marked and just weary, and we're going to need help.
Yeah, we definitely will. And like, I guess they can't like use all these games, but I was just thinking about like how many good games there used to be like back in the 90s. I guess it's cool and great that there's all these indie games and all this new stuff coming out. But remember the days where like even bad games would be like well produced and well made, and they just stunk as like gameplay, but there were so many like good elements in there. You're like, oh, it's almost that good. and people don't think about it anymore. And there's just these franchises that were wonderful. And why aren't gaming companies bringing those back?
To be fair though, Brian, in the 90s we were kids
Yeah.
and you just played that stupid fucking hammer game that had tons of positive reviews on it, and all you do is click a pickaxe. So maybe children just have very poor abilities to decide what a good game is.
You don't think we were better kids than they are now? I don't think you're giving yourself enough credit. Because
I don't know. I don't know if young B would have enjoyed hitting a mouse button on a pickaxe for hours.
I don't think you would have. That's what I'm trying to say. You used to play games. I used to play like.
Do you believe that? Do you believe that in me?
Yeah, you used to play Final Fantasy. You used to play
that's true.
Mario, Sonic, all these legends that are in the game with Zelda.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, I feel like I remember games back in the day that were not good. I can't name the names of them. I remember there was one like Toy Factory game where you had to like fight through a toy factory.
I'm hooked.
That game fucking sucked.
Hooked.
It sucked. It was not good.
At least people put thought into it and like what.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean?
It was better than clicking on something.
It was a bad game, but they cared about the bad game they made. You know?
Yeah.
Like they put a story behind why you're in a dumb toy factory. What other games are out there? Like what game would you like to be remade? That, like not even a bad game, but like a game that you remember fondly that you think would do well in this time. Like what are you thinking?
That I remember fondly?
Yeah, like a good game, like, you know, you play, like, I'll start out, like, in my head. Did you ever play Blast Corps?
No.
Blast Corps was this, like, super fun old Nintendo 64 game. It was like a puzzle-solving game, but it was kind of like remember the old Rampage games where there's monsters and you destroyed buildings and stuff? It was just like a 3D Rampage, but instead of playing, like, a gorilla and a dinosaur, they gave you vehicles and you would go around these maps and like change out what vehicle you're using and just destroy all of these buildings. And it was like this like this game had no blood in it. It was just like destruction of ordinary buildings and stuff, and it was a blast. If they would remake a game like that and bring it into
a Blast Corps?
Yeah, Monica. It was a Blast Corps. Yes, it was. Like something like that, something that's like a really fun game from your childhood. What like would fare well now? Like, do you got any of those?
I know one of the games I really, really loved as a kid, but I don't know if it would fare well now, unless they made like maybe if they made a live remake. How Disney's been making like Cinderella and stuff. Disney's Aladdin. Did you ever play Aladdin?
I did play Aladdin. I loved Aladdin.
So fun. It was one of the best games.
The little snakes coming out of the pots and stuff.
Yeah. And the genies like level where you were like jumping on the clouds and everything. It was Disney's Aladdin was a great. I feel like everybody loved it. It was really well done, and I think it would be fun to see something like that again. Also, the film itself was fun. You know, Robin Williams playing the genie, and I feel like that would be one where maybe they don't even have to 100% do like Aladdin, but like no, they would have to do some of their old stuff because their new stuff sucks.
You don't like Frozen? Hello. The blockbuster. Blockbuster.
Let it go. Okay, Brian, just let it go. Let me move on to my next game.
Okay.
Let it go. Let it go.
Can I sidebar with you real quick about Disney movies being made into live action?
Sure.
They're remaking The Lion King as a live action movie now. I'm sorry, are they actually filming lions, or is all that just CGI animated? That's an animation movie. That's my only little take.
That's weird.
Right? Think about that. Like the Jungle Book that just came out, all they had was a little boy running around on green screens. That's an animation movie. That's not a live action remake of anything. That's
also, I don't know how you felt about it, but it was I didn't really enjoy it. I don't want
What?
to go on too much of a tangent.
Okay.
Let's not do that. But another one that I could totally see being like a really awesome remake, because there are so many more options now, and maybe they've done something like this, but I also feel like this is just almost a joke, like it's a meme. But Oregon Trail.
You want an Oregon Trail remake?
Yeah, imagine that though. It would be a strategy game. It could
Okay.
be so much better. It could be
Whoa.
so much better.
You know what? Yeah. I'll let you go on your little rant because I just clicked at me what it could be.
It could be a total strategy game.
Mm-hmm.
It could be like almost a open world.
Okay.
I mean, they could completely change the way that they approach it, but you still you still have a family that you're trying to protect. And when when these family members get like
Sarah's
eaten,
still
or
gonna get dysentery.
when these family members get eaten, or they die of dysentery, or they like fall away in the river, like it could be so dramatic. Imagine like trying to cross a river with your oxen, and just like you get to a cutscene because here's what you lose, and you see your oxen just drowning, and one of your children going like, ah, ah, and you're just going down the river. Imagine that. It could be amazing. And to be quite honest with you, for as many people that are like, Oregon Trail, I am shocked it has not been made.
I think you're right about that. What was that one game we played? We reviewed it. Was it Pyre? Was that the game we thought was kind of like Oregon Trails?
Yeah, but that was like you were in a wagon. That was the only element of it that was like Oregon Trail. You had some supplies. You're in a wagon. There was not enough like it at all. The only reason why we thought of it was because of the covered wagon.
True. But I just thought like like think about like something like a FTL treatment, like Faster Than Light, that sci-fi game. That totally works as like an Oregon Trail thing, like brought into modern day where you have to make choices. And just the visual you gave me about the ox with your dumb little kid floating down the Mississippi all by itself. Like, I'm there.
I want like cutscenes. I want cutscenes where like if your child dies, like the wife is just like holding this like baby that just shit itself to death. And you're just like, no, and she's just crying, and you're like, God, I'm so close to death. Like, this would be a little bit more of an adult version, or a more realistic version. It would be realistic, everybody. This is the real life, okay? And it wouldn't even have to be good. Like, it could almost be like Goat Simulator, but you're just trying to get your you're trying to get your covered wagon from point A to point B.
Dude, dysentery is such a nice way of saying you shit yourself to death. I never thought of it until he's like, oh, that baby shit himself to death.
It's true, though.
It really is.
Yeah.
I'd love to see like Vagrant Story remade. Did you ever play Vagrant Story?
No.
Did you ever play Final Fantasy 12? I think
yes.
With Titus, I think. Not Titus. I don't know. It was set in the same universe. As that was, and Vagrant Story was one of the coolest RPGs I think I've ever played. And it's almost had a remake, except it didn't have as good of a story, and that was Dark Souls. All these people that think Dark Souls is like wholly unique game, like onto itself, they didn't play Vagrant Story, and I love Vagrant Story way more than I do Dark Souls because I think the universe of Dark Souls, and I'm gonna get a lot of hate for this. There might be a lot of people rousing my britches for this.
Ooh, don't rouse those britches, boys and girls.
Vagrant Story did Dark Souls way better. Their universe they played in was way better. Dark Souls universe, I think, kind of feels dumb and basic to me a little bit, and a little bit too straightforward. Like, here's a knight, and he's got knight armor. Vagrant Story had so much more style and depth. The crafting story or style system was amazing. It had this like chain combo system attacking. And what I loved about it is that it took like the RPGs that normally are played through, like you're in the town and then you go into the dungeon and you go back to the town. This was like dungeons. You're in the dungeon and like maybe every like 3 or 4 dungeons you'll go back to the town. This was played story driven in the dungeon. And I don't know why it hasn't been remade, especially now that Square Enix can see the success that something like Dark Souls has had, where it's like people are loving punishing games.
Yeah.
I would love to see Vagrant Story make a comeback.
Yeah. That's an interesting one. Another one that's weird, which like it almost might be too good. And if you recreated it, you have such an opportunity to have it's almost like Star Wars. Like it has to be perfect or else you're going to upset a lot of people.
Okay.
But I mean, I feel like so many people play this. I didn't even realize how many people played this game until I started streaming on Twitch a few years back. And just like, or not even streaming on Twitch, just being a part of the Twitch community. And this is a favorite game of a lot of people, and that's Chrono Trigger.
Oh my God. Yes.
But they would have to do such a good job with it. The only thing I would say is if they made Chrono Trigger and they did it in like 3D, just imagine, I forget her name, the blonde character's
Meryl?
name. Yeah, I think, I don't remember. But imagine her provoke attack in 3D. Because if you don't recall, the way that she provoked people was by bending over and patting her butt a couple of times.
Yes.
And if you were in 3D and you were like, provoke the enemy, and you just patted your butt awkwardly 3 times, I would pay money just to do that. Fuck, that's how I provoke people in real life now. I mean, like,
where do you think you learned it?
Yeah, I would love to see Chrono Trigger's story brought into a new dynamic. The only thing is there's so much room for error there.
Yeah.
That I would be a little concerned, but I think that that's just such a classic, and it would be so fun to be able to try to relive it. The reason why I thought of Chrono Trigger is because Breath of the Wild, I was over at a friend's house, visiting a friend a few times over the past week, and they were playing Breath of the Wild, and I have not yet had a chance to play it. And watching them play Breath of the Wild gave me this extreme nostalgia for Ocarina of Time.
Yeah.
Which Ocarina of Time was an amazing game. And it just gave me this nostalgia. I was like, Chrono Trigger could still do this. Like it could bring that back if they did it right.
They totally could. Chrono Trigger is definitely one of the most beloved games in gaming history.
Yeah, it is.
And part of the reason might be because they haven't touched the original story. Like Chrono Cross, which I still think is a very underrated game in itself, kind of brought like the time travel aspect back in. But Chrono Trigger as a whole, man, I would die to get that game. I think people have been talking about it. Did you ever see there was like a fan game. Did you ever see the fan game that was trying to be made about it?
No.
It was like a 3D take on the game, and Square Enix shut them down. And watching it, like the emotions like just started to wash over you. Like thinking about the dragon boss after you're getting out of prison on the bridge, like how iconic of a fight that is.
Yeah.
And my son will never know that, God damn it, unless they do this for us. Like, my unborn son who I don't have. They will never know the joys of Chrono and Robo.
So there's multiple.
Oh, I'm a twin. We're knocking out twins on the first try, and then we're stopping.
Okay. All right.
So
they're both going to be boys.
Yeah.
And their names are both going to be Todd.
One with 1D, the other with 2Ds.
Yeah, there you go. That's perfect. Perfect.
The character you're thinking of, it's Marley, Marle. How would you say it?
Marley.
Marley, okay.
Yeah. She used to provoke, and I just, as a kid, I just was like, oh my gosh, she's patting your butt to provoke people. I love that. And then I started doing it at school, and it didn't go so well for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's it. I think those are my 3. Do you have another one, or is that?
I don't know off the top of my head. I would just love to see more games from the past remade like that. Like, especially with the Switch, like you don't need these like full out blown games like AAA production. Like just update these games, like the Crash Bandicoot game that just came out that was remade. Like I would love to see games like Aladdin kind of get that treatment,
Yeah. 100%. One thing though is like Aladdin doesn't have the I feel like Aladdin would be hard to sell because Disney does things in bursts, right?
Yeah.
You have a movie
Open in the
that comes
vault.
out, it pairs with a game, you go out, you buy all of these products that coincide with it, and a game just happens to be one of those. That still happens, right? Like a
Yeah.
film comes out, a game comes out alongside of it,
Yeah.
and collectibles come outside of it. And you just end up with um that focus for like the next like 3 months. Like that's all your kids think about. That's all you're thinking about. Like it's just like, how do I get my Aladdin doll or whatever?
Dude, you remember all
So
like the Aladdin like plushies and stuff they were putting out when they're releasing
did
that
you ever
movie?
used to go to the Disney store and
Yeah.
like, and you just have all of the like the stuffed animals and everything?
Uh-huh. I used to love going in there. I am a Orlando raised kid. And so I used to go to the Disney store all the time and just break my dad's goddamn wallet. I was
Oh
like,
yeah.
give me that genie. I want it now. All right, let me get some Simba in my life. I'm gonna carry Simba around everywhere, Dad. And then
Yeah.
like 1 week later, I'm just like, whatever.
And they all cost like $1,000.
Yeah. What about
But
you?
some of that stuff, some of those things ended up like really, really holding their value.
Yeah.
Did you ever collect anything? Did you
Uh
ever have collections of anything?
I did not, but I had a stepmom who was part of the Beanie Baby phase.
Dude, I
Like
fucking killed it at Beanie Babies. I was a fucking Beanie Baby fucking mogul.
just wheeling and dealing.
I shit you not, I did not treat Beanie Babies as a normal child.
Oh, dysentery, you not?
I dysentery you not.
Thank you.
I did not treat it as a normal child. I saw a total opportunity to capitalize on people's stupidity. And I would wait in line when releases came out. I would buy like the Peace Bear or
Yeah,
whatever
yeah.
for $5. And then when I was at fairs, because I used to show animals and 4-H, which we've talked about plenty, so I'm not going to go
Yeah,
into
no,
depth
let's
on
get
that.
into it. I could do
But
some 4-H talk right now. Don't worry.
but I would bring the Beanie Babies and I'd sell them for whatever people were paying for them.
Yeah.
I made a fucking killing, Brian. And not only that, I would go to my friends and they all collected Beanie Babies. And like
Yeah.
one time I was like, Lisa, that's a fucking Humphrey. That camel is a Humphrey. That's
It's a
worth
Humphrey.
$800.
Oh, it's so embarrassing.
But you took the tag off of it. I will sell it for you online for $400. And I want 20%. I got to the point where I was taking my friends' stupid ass Beanie Babies that they weren't caring for, and I was turning it into profit for them so they could go out and get crappier Beanie Babies that worth any money.
What the hell? I didn't
It
realize you were
killed
such
us.
a Beanie Baby hustler.
Yeah. But I don't think I was ever like a really big collector. And I feel like I missed the mark on that. I have a couple figurines. I have like a Xeno Saga figurine,
Uh-huh.
and I have Berserk figurines,
You have those
the
now?
anime.
You have those now?
Oh yeah.
Why do we have baskets up on your shelf there? Why aren't you putting the Xenoblades?
Because I decided that I didn't want to show my dragon statues and everything, and I figured I'd be a little bit more worldly with a globe behind me, Brian,
Mm-mm.
trying to show how worldly I am.
I want to see other worlds, all right?
Okay, that's fair. But yeah, collections are. I'm surprised you never collected anything.
What I used to collect. I used to do Magic the Gathering and
Okay,
like
that's
Pokemon
good.
cards, right? All right.
100%.
Pogs.
100%.
I used to collect Pogs.
Did you ever sell them?
No, I'd lose
You
them.
missed the mark. You're an idiot.
The market moved on.
Dude, I'm telling you, my brother made hundreds of dollars
also Pogs?
on Pokemon.
Oh, Pokemon cards.
At people, we'd have like once a year, we'd have a yard sale.
Yeah, yeah.
And my brother and I would be out there with our little stations where they're like, bring us the money. People would come in, they try to like whittle my mom down to like $1 for our sofa. And they come up to me and they're like, how much for the Peace Bear? I'm like, $50, bitch. They're like, all right, here it is. They wouldn't even argue.
See, I get so embarrassed about it because at the age of when I was like, my grandpa was driving me to the comic book store to like buy Pokemon cards. And when he was that age, he was going off to fight the Germans in a war. And I got him collecting Pokemon cards. I think that's why I fell off collecting.
I don't know. I did collect certain things just for funsies. I've always had like an affinity for dragons.
Yeah.
I really do. I like love them. I love dragon statues.
I used to play Warhammer.
I would be a weird person. Like if I wasn't so aware, I would probably have hundreds of dragon statues and swords.
You'd be that like person you knew in high school with like the dragon, like the button-up dragon shirts on all the time.
Oh fuck yeah, dude.
Yeah, and that's probably there's a few of those people in our audience, and I love you guys. You were the ones I always wanted to hang out with.
I'm serious. Like I owned a bunch of swords. I just didn't keep them out. I used to have a nerd closet, and I'd like lock myself in it and go, and like gain my power to go throughout the day. But I wouldn't show anyone. It was like a vampire where they like go to their like casket. Then my nerd closet was like where I hid everything.
Can you start building up your armory again and just hanging it behind you?
Not a bad idea. But now I feel like my taste is different, where like before I could get like a $35 knife that looked really cool. Mm-hmm. But like probably like if I looked at it now, I'd be like, this thing looks like shit, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, collections were a big deal. Did you ever know anybody that had big collections?
Not really. Well, I had a cousin who was like huge into the Warhammer stuff. And like would seek out the rare units from like that they didn't produce anymore and stuff, that type of stuff. But other than that, collection wise, I really haven't ran into anyone with like interesting collections. Like, you know, it was the Magic the Gathering was probably the biggest things in my life. Not just me, just people who circulated in my world.
Yeah, my an old roommate that I had, we were in a
weird talking
spot.
Like 64, 65?
Huh?
64, 65?
Oh, no, not that old. He was actually younger than me. When we lived together, he had a big old Pokemon plushie collection. And he had like a shit ton of them. Mm-hmm. And they were pretty cute, I'm not gonna lie. And he had some that were worth quite a bit of money. Mm-hmm. And so he was just like, I'm holding on to them because they're gonna go up in value and they're whatever. And then he's like, why, when do I bring girls over and I bring them into my room, do they leave 10 minutes later?
No. So you fucking for real?
Yeah, he had shelves up and there were just Pokemon plushies everywhere. And it takes a special kind of person to go into a room like that and think like, I want to bang. And so he was having some trouble with the ladies, and I assumed it might be because of his Pokemon collection. And so I was just like, dude, you got to put those in the closet. And he got a little defensive. He's just like, that's who I am. And I was like, I get that, but you're also a person that wants to have sex. And maybe your Pokemon collection and all the little eyes that are watching are too much. And that was really my thought process, because I had China dolls. My parents like gifted me China dolls when I was a kid. Yeah. And I always felt like they were watching me. So I was like, if I walked into a room and there was like tons of Pokemon staring at me, like, I'm like, I don't want to get naked. I know I'm an adult and I know that they can't see me, but I still feel like they can.
A little hard to get off with a Bulbasaur staring at you.
Yeah. Well, hundreds of them. But he did end up selling quite a few of them. It didn't help. Yeah. But it helped his bank account. That's for sure. He was killing it, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, he was someone that I knew that collected Pokemon plushies. The golden Magikarp is still one of the most valuable plushies out there, I believe.
A golden Magikarp?
A golden Magikarp.
We should go find one.
Well, we could for like $400 to $600.
We're not buying that shit.
Okay.
We're stealing it. I've seen movies.
You know what? Honestly, that would probably be the easiest theft you could ever pull off. Just targeting people that like love expensive plushies and breaking into their house and stealing their plushies. That is like stealing. That's like stealing from children. Like this innocent love. It's like, here's your lollipop, mine now.
Yeah.
You know?
I would love to see a movie where it's like a con artist who's going around the country getting women to fall in love with him just so he can steal their dumb plushies. Starring Bill Murray.
We could make that.
I don't think we could, but I'd love to try.
We couldn't make that, but I want to make it.
Oh, goddamn plushies. I still can't believe the phenomenon of like stuffed animals, especially the Beanie Baby stuff, you know? Like I don't think people nowadays, unless you're raised in our generation, can understand like what a craze how it can sweep through this country.
There's nothing like that now.
No.
It's how is there not? It's all about electronics now.
Yeah. Like you can't have it anymore. And like, it's not like,
but I still think I still think it exists. It's just not, it's like useful objects, like an Apple Watch or whatever, you know, like people go out and rush to go get those things.
Maybe, yeah,
but I guess they're not really collectibles, right? Like they're not collectibles.
No. And like, there's like, you know, your grandparents aren't going to go hit an Apple Watch up. Grandparents to kids, everyone wanted like Beanie Babies. You know what I mean? Like everyone. Mm-hmm. And like, that's just not going to happen anymore. You know, the grandpa's going to be looking
like
at
Cabbage Patch Dolls.
Yes.
Fucking Furbies.
Yes.
Furbies. Like that. Is that all dead now? I don't know.
Ooh.
Tamagotchis?
Ooh.
Yeah. Those didn't go up in value though, but like, yeah, that's weird. I don't know. Listeners, can you think of a recent collectible craze that has like really gone off the rails? I can't think of one off the top of my head right now.
Moves. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everyone wants to learn how to mollywop instead of collecting Tamagotchis.
Yeah, but if you can think of something that's like a collectible craze right now, it can't be fidget spinners, even though I feel like that is a craze.
Fidget spinners. Yeah. You're right.
It was a craze, but that's not a collectible craze. People aren't buying those in order to make profit off of them.
True.
I'm specifically thinking collectibles. I don't think fidget spinners are going to be able to fall into that category.
I'll agree with that.
So what is a collectible that's come out recently? I can't think of one. So listeners, if you can think of one, tweet at us. It's at Backspace Nomads. Let us know what's on your mind. I can't think of one off the top of my head.
We're done.
Yeah.
We're just gonna
you can leave a comment on our YouTube, also /Backspace Nomads.
Yeah.
And we'd love to hear if you can think of something.
Sure. Yeah, I'm drawing a blank, so let's call it there.
Okay, sounds good.
You feel good? You feel?
I'm feeling fine.
All right, guys, that's gonna do it for Backspace Nomads episode 43. Thanks for hanging out. Listen to us, backspacenomads.com, backspacenomads.com /gamers GAMRS to join enlist in our armor. If you're listening to this as a podcast listener on Apple iTunes, Google Play, or Stitchers, and you want to rate, review, or subscribe to the podcast on there, it's the best way to support us. And we appreciate all of you guys for checking us out. We'll see you on the next podcast next week, episode 44. Later, Nomads.
See ya.